You indeed told me that a jobless Kenyan is a desperate Kenyan. You told me also that a hungry Kenyan is a negative Kenyan. You told me that a sick Kenyan is a weak Kenyan. And you also told us that a homeless Kenyan is a Kenyan without hope. You, the Kenyan people, spoke clearly. We want dignity. We want to put enough food on our tables. And we want a lower cost of living. We listened. Since, and on reflection, I have come up with 4 responses to these concerns, and I call them the big 4. Food security, affordable housing, manufacturing, and affordable health care for all.
That is the position on the big 4. Food security, health, universal health care, housing, affordable housing, manufacturing. Many of the people in the rural areas would like to know how food security is very important, to have food enough for eating and surplus for export, to have enough food to feed families. Many people would like to know what universal health care is. We need to start to talk to people, to tell them, to do documentaries. How is the fishing? What type of fishing can be done on a small 1 acre? We need to go out inside in the villages, get our teams that can come up with all documentaries, weekly, daily, so that fishing can be improved. Fishing can become one of the food. When people talk about food in Africa, Miriam, in Siaya, for example, people think of the maize. That is, but fish is also a food item that must be stored, that must have facilities for.
The 4th element is food security and nutrition. Since independence, we as a people have sought to ensure that our citizens enjoy food security and proper nutrition. And while we have made good progress, the challenge, however, remains yet to be fully conquered. It is time to address once and for all the multiple and interlocking factors that leave too many Kenyans at risk of hunger. Our immediate actions start now. We will bring targeted taxation to bear to put arable land to use. We will continue to encourage and facilitate large-scale commercial agriculture to diversify our staples through irrigation and other technologies. We will protect our water towers. Small-scale farmers will receive better extension services and market access, and subsidies will be redesigned to improve food yields and production quality.
We have said 3 items: obstacles, success, and the challenges. One of the obstacles is when the agenda was set out, there was quite a lot of politics that was involved. So time has come for us to remove politics from it and assure the people, the ordinary people, the ordinary wananchi, citizen of Kenya, that if you have this, you can improve the food security. If you do this, you'll improve the healthcare system. If you do this, if you can plan for a cheaper housing in your local area, a cheaper industry, a cottage industry. For example, look at what we want people. How many youths can gather themselves into a group in Kayole? 10 youths. If you can be washing people's clothes, ironing them, their shirts, when they come from school, they pay you 300 shillings or 100 shillings, Bob, or 20. And if you are doing that as a small group, this is, you see, a small cottage industry begins there. Then you end up with a huge, dry cleaner in Kayole, made by youth. But most of the people in our African context, especially Kenya and Uganda and other places, people are focused on the government getting them the jobs. But there is a job. There is the youth fund where you can go and borrow 50,000 shillings and buy dryer, buy this, By that, you iron people's clothes. There are so many people who are lazy who want, I'm not condemning them, but they go to work very early in the morning. They don't have time to wash this cloth. But you can say, bring your shirts here. You'll have them in the tomorrow morning. You put in a dryer, iron, another youth is ironing. You earn your living. You create employment for yourselves and for the people surrounding you.
So job creation.
I want you in this spirit to also turn to the person sitting or standing next to you. Greet them and say how proud you are to be Kenyan, and tell them that you are their keeper. Because to be Kenyan, at its core, is about loving your neighbor.
Viewers, this is Good Morning Africa. Welcome to Punchline Africa television from the Political Command Center of Punchline Africa television, miles away from the general headquarters in Nairobi. Thank you very much. Good morning, all of you in Africa. Good morning in East Africa. Good morning, entire world. Thank you very much. This is the only television station, the only station that talks about Africa. That what ails Africa? What kills Africa? Good morning, Africa. Thank you very much, viewers. And that is myself, Dr. David Matsanga, all the way from the Political Command Center, miles away from the general headquarters in Nairobi. Good morning. This morning, viewers, we want to look at the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. In this first show, I will be joined by several other correspondents around Kenya. I will be joined by Professor, if he's on the way, fine. And later on, we shall look at diplomatic leaks. In our second show at 11 o'clock, but between now, we shall look at the newspaper headlines. What do they mean? What do headlines mean? Are we safe? Are we heading? Are we talking about development? The papers, what do they depict? This is the breakfast with Dr. Matsanga in Nairobi. Good morning. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to look at the pandemic. Schools are opening on Monday. Parents have been taken by surprise. Logistical nightmare awaits the parents, the students, the teachers, the heads of schools, private and public. Are we ready as a nation? Is Kenya ready as a nation to sample human beings on the schools? Can someone interpret clearly the nightmare that we shall have, the students, the teachers, the parents, and the administration? Can someone tell us publicly what is at stake with our children going back to school on 15th? The Ministry of Education seems to be hop, hip, flip, not preparing people enough. Just going towards the Christmas season. We've lost the year. Seriously speaking, it would have been better if the whole of this mess, people started it in January. What is the hurry of taking the children back to school, then break up around November or December, early December, to go home for Christmas? It's a nightmare. It's a logistical nightmare for everybody involved in it. But since the minister says he has advice from the Minister of Health, he's worked with other stakeholders, I leave it to the Kenyan people to make a judgment. I have pronounced myself on these schools, and I'm not going to be a party to them, to people opening these schools. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for understanding that my obstacles remain your obstacles. I'm not going to be changed. Neither anybody will convince me anywhere in Kenya that the schools are adequately equipped to take on the children again before we even make the curve. People have forgotten masks. I'm walking in the town, I've done my rounds in the town. I found people have forgotten masks. Nobody's wearing a mask. Some of them, very few people wear masks. All the masks are down under the chin. This disease is real. Let's encourage people, please. Let's wait until the World Health Organization can, to a certain extent, tell us that, okay, we have battled with this disease, we have reached this direction, we can now open up this and that. But I don't know, in Africa, if you insist on the subject for a long time, you die like Okonko. I wouldn't like to die like Okonko. I want to remain with my dignity as a person who came and said, if these things are seen tomorrow, so be it. God will help me. And the people remember some of the words that I said. Thank you very much. On the question of what new school calendar means, that's exactly what we are talking. Candidates back to school on Monday as the ministry races against time to save academic year disrupted by coronavirus in March. You can race against time, but you cannot race against the disease because the disease is invisible. Time is always there. Why are we rushing people's children back to these institutions? That is my feeling. It's not anybody's feeling. Don't buy it. It is my mind, my pen, and my paper. And that is how I'm going to do things now. It's my pen, my mind, my paper. So it is up to you. You like it. If you don't like it, fine. But for me, I wouldn't risk my child to go to that school until I know the corona facilities. I inspect the school and find out that every equipment is available. You rather stay with what you have. It's very difficult to manufacture a child. You can manufacture a school, but you cannot manufacture a child. Please, let's be very honest about this and tell the president the truth about it. Because these are some of the things either people are being pushed to supply their tenders. You are not going to supply tender on dead people. The time has come to talk the truth. This what tender, this is becoming a nightmare, man. We can't have bad news all the time. Firefighting. What type of institutions are these? The institutions that cause firefighting. We are firefighting all the time. There is no decision that comes from any quarter that looks good, that sounds good. We are all the time firefighting. Jubilee government is firefighting. One of the dangers we have had as Jubilee government is the lack of a communication strategy. We firefight every day. I'm a friend of the Jubilee government. Yes, I broke my hand to put it in powerhouse. I had a bad accident. I've never been to hospital in my life since 1955. The first time I had it was to be in hospital when I had an accident in the second election, which Maraga maliciously with George Soros had nullified. But time has come for us to speak the truth about some of these things. Every policy that comes, Mr. President, from there is either fact or there's something wrong. Even a professor like Magoha cannot tell us exactly what is supposed to be done. So many people are complaining. Every hotel, everywhere you see, people are running. People don't have the money to take the children to school on Monday. You know, some of the institutions are not yet ready. Tuambiane ukweli jameni. You can manufacture a child, sure, like a manufacturing what? My children are grown up. I don't mind. They are all above 20. I'm not bothered. But I'm bothered as a human being, a person talking to the public. These are sentiments that we are getting from the public. Professor Magoha, don't operate like a Chiyunjuri of agriculture. We kept on crying here. We said there's an enemy within inside. Nobody wanted to listen to us. Until it came to a crunch when we have lost. We are all the time firefighting. We have never created a policy of sending fire to people. Let's change course. We are hurtling to a very wrong direction. A very wrong direction. Thank you very much. Karanja in Nanyuki. Good morning, Karanja. Karanja?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Comrade Karanja in Nanyuki, the legacy trend correspondent in Nanyuki. Good morning.
I'm fine, thank you.
How is in Nanyuki?
The Nanyuki is fine and it's a bit hot today. The sun is there and it's getting hot.
Give me your sentiments.
Yeah, and I think on matters the reopening of the schools, and when I went around these areas where I am yesterday after the news was made, parents are not prepared. Some of them complain they don't have the school fees. Some private schools have been targeted who have been targeted. They are the owners of the schools are rearing poultry. They are doing poultry farming in the same schools. Therefore, it's difficult to return those children back to school, and especially those in private schools. Where will they go? Where they can get back to public school? Number two thing is that some of the schools are not well prepared. Don't have enough facilities to ensure that the Minister of Health protocols are observed in these schools. Some don't have even water. They don't have tanks. Where will they get this water within this week? And in some places get the sanitizers, especially in some rural areas where even they don't have electricity, leave alone some kind of things that the Minister of Education is talking about. Therefore, this is something that has been rushed, and I think the Ministry of Education is acting from maybe from inside or from outside. That's why they are rushing things. And it's unfortunate that they want to the lives of our children in those facilities. And even before coronavirus came, we had schools that didn't have even classrooms where students used to study from outside. Therefore, these are kind of pieces that can see it. And that is not the first time. The Ministry of Education and Professor George Magoha, they have been treating Kenyan societies every time. And I think it was wise to reopen the school uniformly because now they have opened for candidates only. Now the education, the Form 4 students and the Class 8 students, where we they go to school, where when we they get admitted to join Form 1 and to join university, bearing in mind we still have Form 1 who have not even finished their master's. We have freshers who are supposed to join university next year. Therefore, these are kind of confusion because they need to create facilities to ensure that by next year we will have double intake for Form 1 and for university students and for Class 1 students. And that this is something that the Ministry of Education must look into to ensure that they are well prepared, to ensure that this kind of confusion will not come up in the future. Because it is not possible to have two Form 1 admitted in the same year. Therefore, this kind of thing, it is the Ministry of Education should look into in a deeper kind of analysis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Karanja. Stay on the line. Across in Nairobi, CBD. Good morning, Professor Onyari. Unmute.
Good morning, Dr. Matsanga, and our viewers and Karanja.
Good morning.
Morning.
Prof, do we have any more words to add on this? It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy in waiting. Me, my stand is still the same. I don't know about you.
Dr. Matsanga,
Yes.
why should we fight for only 2 months when we have wasted 7 months? Let us put all preparation for taking our children to school not in a hurry. You see how the parents are panicked now. In fact, Kenyans don't even have money to return their children to school. So, Dr. Matsanga, wherever you do something, please, for heaven's sake, involve the stakeholders. Don't make decisions just as if you have no feeling for what other parents have to undergo. And besides that, Dr. Matsanga, from what I'm seeing, the way Kenyans are doing, they are not wearing masks. People have assumed.
Wait there, Baba. Let me support you. These masks, Mr. President, these masks, they have disappeared. These masks have disappeared. And against the people breaking the laws, who are they? The politicians. Your Excellency, these masks, they say they are no longer needed. But for us, you advise us who are above 58 to wear them, talk. God help those who help themselves. But Your Excellency, in your next update, Mzee, these masks have gone. People are not. So, you tell me, if parents, grown-ups, if Kenyans of this age, if developed countries like Britain that has got education system has not released all its children to school, why are we releasing these children? Can't we do an exam later on? Can't we find a solution? Serious circumstances need serious intervention. Differing circumstances need differing interventions. Back to you, Prof.
So, all the protocols as given by the Minister for Health, my fellow Kenyans are not following it. I don't want to be a prophet of doom. I want to pray for our children. But the decision is not wise, Dr. Matsanga. You should be able to have the comparative analysis from what is happening in other countries. Dr. Matsanga, I can remember when we were transiting from the old system, 7, 6, 7423. There was one here, we did not have students, we did not have students. And it continued that until we were able to normalize. So there's no hurry. The year will go that way, but as long as we can be able to save the lives of Kenyans, Dr. Matsanga, we should have achieved more. I can see the distinguished professor, the way he calls himself, Magoha. On this one, he has goofed. He has not provided leadership. He has left himself vulnerable to be advised by people who have got various interests. You know, Dr. Matsanga, corruption is terrible. And this is corruption at work because since the schools closed, people have missed money. So people want at all costs to have the schools open so that they can be able to get money. It is the same as the politician, Dr. Matsanga. They are moving all around the country.
Yeah.
Whether you die and you don't die, they don't care. So, Dr. Matsanga, from where I sit, let us pray that God will take care of our children. But that decision, Dr. Matsanga, is not good.
This weekend, they are in your place, in your county. Are they not in Nyamira? The same politicians.
Dr. Matsanga, let me ask you, where will combative politics take you?
Nowhere.
Tell me who has succeeded. Now, Dr. Matsanga, people should go for free and learn from the Honorable Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga. He used to have comparative politics, but he has changed the strategy. He has changed tactics. He has said the only way is to engage, is to talk, is to have a conversation, is to look for a redemption strategy. Don't repeat. History is not interested for you to repeat because we have got enough examples, lessons from history. And did I say yesterday in this country, Dr. Matsanga, you don't just wake up one morning, you say that you want to be a president of this country and you become. It doesn't work like that. You have to be patient. You have to be on the queue. I did tell you yesterday that the President Mwai Kibaki had to wait for 10 years to be a president of Kenya. Uhuru Kenyatta had to wait for 10 years. Has someone waited for 10 years? Has he even attempted to contest for the president of this country? We have got Amora Odinga on the queue. We have got Musalia Mudavadi on the queue. We have got Kalonzo Musyoka on the queue. Dr. Matsanga, don't just go around. Be humble. Practice humility. Be obedient.
We are coming there. We are coming there. We are coming there. Let's finish first the headlines. The headline, karaoke owners are afraid of going to Lamu. Why? The woman says the killer of the daughter, she claims their attempt to, by Haji, to cover up her daughter's death, and one special prosecutor appointed. Why is this? I want to ask one question to my viewers. Wherever you are, why is it that this family of Karanja, since you are also Karanja name from Nanyuki, of Karoche, why are they always ridden in controversy? You being a chaplain, maybe being a chaplain of the church, and a Karanja being the namesake. Karanja Nanyuki, can you start as a professor prepared himself?
Yes.
Why is the Karioche family in front of the embroidered in they're embroidered in scandal by scandal. It is dance by dance, or there is a song saying party by party.
Yes, the copy of the Humphrey Kariuki.
Eh?
It's Humphrey on the Kariuki's job.
Yes.
On the one who owns the spirit brewery.
Yes.
Yeah.
So why is there controversy?
I think
Income taxation, there's controversy. The amount of production, there's controversy. The death of their daughter, there is controversy. They are saying DPP is trying to cover up. Are they saying the DPP is the one who should have charged someone without evidence? What do you think?
I think these are people who anchor their business. I think the foundation of their business is that all these things they found it in a matter that was not good, in a kind of a process. That is why today they cannot even manage their own issues. That is why you find the kind of product they are giving out there. They are of low quality. Sometimes because they are not saying the KRA is done. These are kind of people that I think they were like maybe the friends back they were tackled with the big people in the government to help them do all this kind of manner of illness. So and maybe like I think right now they are not covered by maybe the people, influential people in the government or in the political arena who maybe help them to grow from that level to come to a higher level that they are today. And that maybe they were left alone. That is why I find they are doing all these manner of things that they are even getting it worse because every time there is controversies, there is things that are not even adding up. I think that this is the problem of being covered with people who are the government, and when they just protect it, you end up being kind of a father who cannot put the water anymore. Yeah.
So according to you,
Yeah.
do we at times blame bad parenting?
Yeah.
The case of this, the case, yes.
To find people, and that is the kind of the things that are coming to be glorified right now. Because when the society takes these people who are doing and some Christian means to get money, and they are the ones who are glorified. That's why you find they accelerate even doing more things that are harmful even to their future generation.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's take a breaker. Bring it on the Big Four agenda. Production team, back to the studios.
You indeed told me that a jobless Kenyan is a desperate Kenyan. You told me also that a hungry Kenyan is a negative Kenyan. You told me that a sick Kenyan is a weak Kenyan. And you also told us that a homeless Kenyan is a Kenyan without hope. You, the Kenyan people, spoke clearly. We want dignity. We want to put enough food on our tables. And we want a lower cost of living. We listened. Since and on reflection, I have come up with 4 responses to these concerns, and I call them the Big Four: food security, affordable housing, manufacturing, and affordable health care for all.
That is the position on the Big Four: food security, health, universal health care, housing, affordable housing, manufacturing. Many of the people in the rural areas would like to know how food security is very important, to have food enough for eating and surplus for export, to have enough food to feed families. Many people would like to know what universal health care is. We need to start to talk to people, to tell them, to do documentaries. How is the fishing? What type of fishing can be done on a small 1 acre? We need to go out inside in the villages, get our teams that can come up with all documentaries, weekly, daily, so that fishing can be improved. Fishing can become one of the food. When people talk about food in Africa, Miriam, in Siaya, for example, people think of the maize, but fish is also a food item that must be stored, that must have facilities for.
The fourth element is food security and nutrition. Since independence, we as a people have sought to ensure that our citizens enjoy food security and proper nutrition. And while we have made good progress, the challenge, however, remains yet to be fully conquered. It is time to address once and for all the multiple and interlocking factors that leave too many Kenyans at risk of hunger. Our immediate actions start now. We will bring targeted taxation to bear to put arable land to use. We will continue to encourage and facilitate large-scale commercial agriculture to diversify our staples through irrigation and other technologies. We will protect our water towers. Small-scale farmers will receive better extension services and market access, and subsidies will be redesigned to improve food yields and production quality.
We have said 3 items: obstacles, success, and the challenges. One of the obstacles is when the agenda was set out, there was quite a lot of politics that was involved. So time has come for us to remove politics from it and assure the people, the ordinary people, the ordinary mwananchi, citizen of Kenya, that if you have this, you can improve the food security. If you do this, you'll improve the healthcare system. If you do this, if you can plan for a cheaper housing in your local area, a cheaper industry, an industry, a cottage industry. For example, look at what we want people. How many youths can gather themselves into a group in Kayole? 10 youths. If you can be washing people's clothes, ironing them, their shirts, when they come from school, they pay you 300 shillings or 100 shillings, Bob, or 20. And if you are doing that as a small group, this is, you see, a small cottage industry begins there. Then you end up with a huge, dry cleaner in Kayole, made by youth. But most of the people in our African context, especially Kenya and Uganda and other places, people are focused on the government getting them the jobs. But there is a job. There is the youth fund where you can go and borrow 50,000 shillings and buy dryer, buy this, buy that. You iron people's clothes. There are so many people who are lazy who want, I'm not condemning them, but they go to work very early in the morning. They don't have time to wash this cloth. But you can say, bring your shirts here. You'll have them in the tomorrow morning. You put in a dryer, iron, another youth is ironing. You earn your living. You create employment for yourselves and for the people surrounding you.
So job creation.
I want you in this spirit to also turn to the person sitting or standing next to you. Greet them and say how proud you are to be Kenyan, and tell them that you are their keeper. Because to be Kenyan, at its core, is about loving your neighbor.
Thank you very much, Karanja. Thank you very much, Professor Onyari in Nairobi. Obstacles, challenges, and success. Name 2. Each of you can name 2 or 3 success story of the big 4. I'll start by naming the success story of the big 4. Infrastructure in Kenya is on the rise. Infrastructure is working. Everywhere you go, roads are being built. The production team could show you the roads, the new setup that President Uhuru Kenyatta has tried. Housing, the success, a bit of it, buildings are coming up, affordable housing. Time might not be there enough to complete all the units that were promised. But believe me or not, something is working. Then you come to food security. There are gaps, but people are beginning to utilize their land very effectively. Land is an asset for an African person. God gave us a good weather, good climate, good sunshine, rainfall in most of the parts of Africa. That is why we need the big four to transform ourselves. But one obstacle remains deep-rooted in this, and that obstacle is politics. Let's begin from there, Professor Nyari.
Thank you, Dr. Matsanga, for this good topic we are discussing. What I want to say that the big four is on course, Dr. Matsanga. And what's more important for the stone to start rolling, that is where the work is, to start rolling. If it starts rolling, it will continue gathering the momentum because it started rolling. President Mwai Kibaki started with the Vision 2030. President Uhuru Kenyatta has narrowed to the big four that he really want them to achieve before he leaves office in the next 22 months. And Dr. Matsanga, he has done preach very well, very well. We have come with a success story on universal healthcare. We have had pilot counties. We had Kisumu, Machakos, Isiolo, Nyeri. It has become a success. So what remains is for it to be rolled for the rest of the remaining counties, Dr. Matsanga. When you talk about food security, Dr. Matsanga, you can see all over the country the dams which are being constructed, except the one where Kimorara and the dam, and you know who had the money. And this is the money we are seeing being given in charges and buying Wilbur and Mokongoten. And I would urge Kenyans to go and get those, that's their money. They should not leave it that way. Dr. Matsanga, there he has done very well. To connect with what I've said, the biggest impediment, Dr. Matsanga, is bad politics. And I'm looking forward in this country when we will be like other countries that we go for an election and we spend more years in the component of economic, the economic development of our country and social development. And like in Kenya, we finish an election and then we start another election which is far away, 5 years far away. Where do we get time for development, Dr. Matsanga? That one has been the greatest impediment for the president to realize his big four agenda, particularly when it comes from his principal assistant, whom they paired and formed the government. So, Dr. Matsanga, this is the biggest impediment. The other impediment, Dr. Matsanga, is corruption. This is one of the items which was identified among the 9 agenda in PPI. Because all the money we assigned for the realization of the big four, Dr. Matsanga, it is being stolen. You can remember that in KEMSA, money which was meant for universal healthcare, more than 2.3 billion, Dr. Matsanga. See what happened to it. I have said corruption is an impediment. I have said politics, especially the area campaigns, and coming from the name of the principal assistant, the president, Dr. Matsanga. That is a serious impediment, Dr. Matsanga. And I would also be able to say the most recent, which is not only for us as a country, Kenya, Dr. Matsanga, it is a global pandemic. This coronavirus, COVID-19, Dr. Matsanga, has slowed us down. But in one way or the other, Dr. Matsanga, it is again another positive thing out of COVID-19. We have had more ICU beds, more hospitals coming in. Ooh.
Thank you very much. I think Prof's power has gone off or something, or not power, but his computer systems. But thank you very much. Karanja.
Yes.
Sema.
Okay, thank you very much.
What do you pick from this before we switch on to the other topic?
The big four agenda.
Yes.
Yeah. And let me say this, the government of the President Uhuru Kenyatta has tried very much in terms of the big four agenda. And one is in terms of food security. And let me tell you something, the government is doing a lot of things in the public communication and attention officers, especially in these areas of Mount Kenya region. And I think now people are starting doing fish ponds, and this is something that was not there before. And this time when you go around 2018, 2019, and you go to homes of people, you see them having fish ponds, and this is something that is increasing, and it's something that is there to work on our nutrition as a nation. Apart from eating the rest, these people now are doing fish ponds and giving money to young people, and it's also helping the nutrition and getting a balanced diet. That is something that food security looks onto, and that's something that I must appreciate the government of the day for working very well. And food security is also giving them farmers like the fertilizers, seeds, and so on. That's something that we can't take it as a backseat, because it's something that is there, it's something that is receiving itself. And that is something that I think farmers are able to use of their produce at a low cost, and this ensures that we have enough in our country. And this is something that the government has done quite very well. Food security to help us during the construction of dams. When you go to Karemeno Dam, when you go to Chiba Dam in Chirigaga, and the other regions in this country, these are dams that have been done for the purpose of irrigation, that ensure that the farmers are able to have a reliable source of water, and this is something that the government has done very, very well. And it's also educating farmers in the importance of doing the modern and the kind of agriculture, and these are getting more on the horticulture and this kind of thing. And that's something that is working very well, because that is where money is. There are kind of vegetables, cabbages, and onions and flowers. That's where a lot of money is. And the government has done a lot of education and a public kind of educating the farmers to engage more on that kind of agriculture. In fact, they have opened agricultural training institutions that ensure that we have trained personnel in matters of agriculture, livestock, veterinary, those kind of things. And that is something that the government has done well, especially through the institutions where we have lots of agricultural courses and technical courses. That's something that I must commend, and it's something that is working on good. And another thing that I mentioned is matters like infrastructure, and this is a reality. And I think you want to put every constituency in our nation despite the national government project that is underway, and this is something that is very important. Like where I am, these towns of areas like Ita County and very counties, you see in every constituency we have roads, and some have already been complete, and they are used, some are almost complete. Therefore, this is something that is the government of the day. That is the rehabilitation of the intergate railway from Nairobi to Nanyuki, and there are other ones that are serving to Kisumu. Therefore, a lot is happening. It's already like people who can see what the deputy government is doing, and that's something very, very nice, because when we have good roads that connect farmers to the market, that connect farmers to the nearby hospitals, this will make sure that we have a good country, because the means of transport will be cost effective, and even the maintenance of vehicles and roads will be lower, and that's a very nice thing. The challenge on these issues all around, and that's something that I not just mentioned in the first chapter here. It was, Jerry County was one of the pilot counties that it has really worked well. And the people now, they don't need to go on this when you have that card, all you are sorted. And that's what we should do, and ensuring that we have enough medical practitioners and men in our health facilities. Also, the Mama Linda, in the Mama campaign, that ensuring that women of our nation have a safe delivery. That is something very nice. The challenge to me remains the premature campaign, because this is something that constrains the concentration of the government. Because when the government is working on a course, the same people led by the deputy president, there are people who are leading on the front line to campaign for 2022 election. This is a person who has abandoned who is at the chief assistant of the president, and this is sabotaging the government agenda. Even when he was given a chance to go and inspect government projects, he went out there, open projects that are existent. When you go to Gandara or you go to these areas, you will not fail to have a road that was open, that is not there, it is not even budgeted for, and that is something that has made even the public sometimes feel like the government is telling them. But these are every project that are commissioned by the deputy president. What that is also making the fight against corruption and realistic, because it's making sure that when the president wants to fight the corruption, is there, people think they are the ones who are being targeted. They are there leading campaigns to ensure that the government has not worked well. They oppose the Zuma number. They are now opposing everything that the government is doing to ensure that the country grows. I think a premature campaign, that is a challenge that has brought a lot of, because when they do these premature campaigns, they promote Kenyans that the government of the day, because they are doing the work of opposing and fighting the government. They are making sure that Kenyans want to listen to them. They think that the government has not done anything. They create a perception that the government has done. This perception is not healthy, especially because it makes the citizens think that the government is not caring for them. It makes the people against its own government. I think that's something that we must say is not good. We must change it, because it's not what our leader will reflect itself is supposed to be doing, especially with its own government.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Professor. You are back. You went off abruptly. We can't hear you.
Yeah, I said, I don't know what happened. I just found the screen off, but I had hammered all the points.
Yes, you had. You had. And now.
I wanted to, there was one more I wanted to connect on devolution.
Yes.
The county government, Dr. Matsanga, they have failed to align their budgets into the big four with the national government, because in Kenya we have got 47 governments and the national government. So we must work in conjunction. Dr. Matsanga said when the counties make their budgets, they must make them in line with the big four. So that's when we can be able to realize that one, Dr. Matsanga.
Thank you very much. Let's take a break and then we come in. Meanwhile, let's have clips from the School of Africa School of Thought from the production team that relate to the development infrastructure of Kenya. You have plenty of them.
Viewers, good morning. This morning, I want to address the issue of Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. The legacy of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya keeps on moving, keeps on going forward and forward. Since the handshake in 2018, that brought about the peace, the tranquility, the unity of purpose, President Uhuru's star has been rising. All over Africa, people are thinking of using the model that Kenya used to stop any form of violence, chaos on the streets after elections. As you know, all of you are aware that elections in Africa produce two things: after or before or after the voting. Disputed elections, winner takes it all, loser doesn't accept the results. But the Kenyan model takes us miles and miles away from the normal type of democracy. The democracy, a negotiated format, a consensus format. A democracy that gives consensus a chance. A democracy that talks about the future of a country, the unity of a country, as opposed to a fragmented country, polarized country, where most African countries find themselves in. We have seen in the last 10 years or so, most of the elections in Africa have been contested by the opposition. Very few people in Africa, countries in Africa, where opposition has conceded defeat and come up to congratulate the winner. We have seen the South African model has worked very well. The Ghanaian model has worked so well. I don't see any other country in Africa where the models have worked well. I thought it would be Sierra Leone, but today we see Sierra Leone going back to the same ethnic tensions, as you can see from the reports that are circulating in the international media and the local media. So elections in Africa are contentious issues. They create a contentious position, create a departing point for the people of Africa, of that particular nation. The legacy of Uhuru Kenyatta, therefore, will be remembered for having brought the tranquility that we have today, the peace, the new format, the new tool of having a better organized civil Africa, an Africa without violence, an Africa without chaos after elections, when the opposition accepts to work for the interests of a nation, not personal interests. This has worked in Kenya, and thank you very much, Your Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, for the tenacity and the steadfastness that you have guided this handshake up to today. For those who want to mutilate the handshake, belittle the handshake, one lesson they should learn is to look at Libya. Libya was once a territory we all respected. It is no more. Let's keep the handshake and the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Thank you.
Welcome back, viewers. This is the second part of our Good Morning Africa. And in the second part of this Good Morning Africa, we are going to use it to explain a redemption strategy. A redemption strategy is the only way forward for this country, Kenya. A redemption strategy, when we talk about a redemption strategy, many people ask, What is redemption? What is redemption? What brings about a redemption? What should trigger redemption? Redemption is triggered by the violence, the actions that you see within the society. Our moral fabrics have been tuned towards some format of violence around elections. Every 5 years, viewers, Kenya goes through a cycle of violence. I want to tell you, yesterday, I was going to a hotel to my evening swimming classes. Swimming. But guess, in the lift, I bumped into, Professor will be interested to know this. I bumped into Maina Kiai. The last time we saw each other, we were on the plane when he was going to tell the ICC to imprison William Ruto. We quarreled on the plane diplomatically. When he got out and he went to Shifo Airport immigration, he took almost 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. The immigration officers were asking so many questions what he was coming to do in Netherlands. I just went, waved my passport. It has iris. They looked at it, at my eyes. It has got, they have taken the inside or said, okay, what are you going? I'm saying, I told them I've come here for work with the ICC. I am against the ICC. You say, oh, you're against. I said, yes, I'm against. And I wanted to, you know, at the immigration, I wanted to tell them so that they know, so that the Bazungu know that I am not coming here for holiday to relax, or I'm not coming here to say I support ICC. So for me, I went to pick my luggage. I looked back because it's a Shifo Airport. You can look back and see what is happening. For 30 minutes, Maina Kiai did not leave the immigration. I don't know what problems he had. Then lastly, because as the luggage was coming, we are very many, about 3 or 4, 5 people. We had traveled in a group. My luggage came first because of the priority tag. And I looked at Maina Kiai. He doesn't carry any extra luggage because he's very paranoid. So he passed. Then someone who knew him in the group, a Kenyan, said, hey, what was happening there? And Maina Kiai said, those stupid people, pointing at me. He said, ah. Then I turned around and said, I am not the immigration of Holland. So yesterday, as I was going to do my swimming classes, Marines, I'm training in a marine way. Actually, I'm training using water. And I want you to understand me that if you look at me, I'm training. I'm not using machines. I'm using water to train so that I cut off some of the weight, which is a very good exercise. I bumped into Maina Kiai. I said, hey, how are you? The guy did not greet me. So I'm talking about redemption here. For me, 6 years ago, I've forgiven you because I have been vindicated. Professor, I've been vindicated. This was the day when there was Rule 68 to actually fix Ruto. And all NGOs went to The Hague to advocate for that rule to pass. Maina Kiai was among us. Gladiel Otieno was among us. Harun Dube from your place again. They were all there. I've forgiven them. But I was surprised yesterday this man did not. It looks he hates me. And I said, it's okay. I got out of the lift. I told the person I was with that, you see, that's the kind of, they have started coming to the hotel of this nature. They are meeting, arranging how to pick money. Does it surprise you that Hassan Omar is a leading expert of Ruto in Mombasa? Hassan Omar. Does it surprise you that Boniface Mwangi, who told us that Langata Primary School had been stolen by William Ruto to build a Western Hotel, is a good supporter today of William Ruto, cutting this country in two places? Does it surprise you that the MP for Nyali, Mohammed Jip of Pevu, is a leading proponent of the same man they wanted to kill? I'm talking this today on this television so that Ruto supporters and Ruto himself can listen. That, brother, there are times when you should give some of us men like me courage. Had I not fought in the Assembly of State Parties, had I not jumped on the chair and tore the t-shirt, even touching the breasts of Gladiwell Otieno, not sorry Gladiwell, rule number 68 would have passed. But because of my action inside the hall, which forced the chairman, the president of ASP, Assembly of State Parties, to call for order and said, order, what is the problem? It's when the president realized, the president of Assembly of State Parties of The Hague realized that Dr. Matsanga was correct. When I had already dismantled Gladiwell Otieno, dismantling. I want Kenyans to hear me and Ruto to hear me. It's not money, the Tala and everybody you paid to go there. It is my action in the conference, because that is what I read. I went to school to read strategy.
I went to school to read political spinning, which you did not read. I saw the time that emotion was going to speak. Ask the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Amamo. She gave a speech in the same conference when I had already torn graduate Otieno's blouse. She had to look for another blouse. And I was ready to go to jail in The Hague because I knew you can only fine me 200 euros because I had not harmed her. I just disagreed in a conference. And when you were in a conference, the police in Holland cannot arrest you. Most of these people who are used to calling police, they were calling police. Police said, no, we cannot come in a conference to arrest anybody. He has not committed a crime outside the conference. You know, some of these people who run to go and get per diem didn't even know that there is a law in Holland that once you are in a conference invited, the Dutch police cannot come in that conference unless the complaint has come from the organizer. But the organizers were on my side. That very bad t-shirts had been worn to confuse the audience. And Professor and Karanja, wherever you are you still there?
Yes.
Karanja, you are still there.
Yes, I'm here. I'm listening.
That whatever the situation was, Dr. Matsanga was correct. Prof, I bring this as a testimony that today Kenya is hurtling the same script is being repeated, the same occurrences because of elections. We are not adhering to a redemption strategy that President Uhuru Kenyatta brought in place with Raila Amolo Odinga. We seem to have run away from the main core as to why there was violence in 2007 and 2008. We seem to have forgotten that the words can also break up a country. Class struggle in Africa ends up in tears. Class struggle in Britain does not end up in tears. Why? In Britain, there is sausage, bacon, bread, unakula na macho. I don't know whether you get my meaning. There is sausage, bread, soda, whatever. You can go and do window shopping and your stomach is full. And I come back and I say, Morrison is a very good prime minister. Yes. Because the facilities in Britain are available. If you don't have gas at your house, the library is already lit. There is heat in the library. I don't know whether people are listening to me. And don't ever think of doing anything that listen to this theory. And any other man can go to a library in Britain and then start reading from 8 o'clock. Why, Professor? There is free gas by the Public Libraries Board. It has not, the money has not been corrupted, put in the pocket of the officer in charge of that library. You get the point? But you try to create a library here in Kenya I don't know how many people can go to our library. Do we have a library in Kenya?
We do.
A public library?
Yes.
Where is it?
Community. Community next to
the Ministry of Health.
Ministry of Health, yeah.
Do you know that people have even stolen the books?
The last time I was there, they were doing, they were building it. I've not been there of late.
I am just bringing this story, and so that I give you time, Professor, to react to it, to those two things. People have stolen those books from the public library, corruptly taken them, and even hipped them, like the way I've hipped my books here in this office of mine in London. The whole room has got books. And let me tell you, why have people stolen those books? Because they don't care about another class. But in Britain, you can't steal a book from the public library. You can't steal money from the public library for gas, to heat gas during the winter. Because there is an officer inspecting the library. If he finds that there is coldness in the library, he will ask, where did you take the money for our gas payment? You will be taken to Belmarsh, which is the biggest prison equivalent to committee. You will go to Belmarsh. Here, we are creating a class struggle. You are creating a class struggle of hustler versus dynasties. I will speak out my mind. Whether I remain alone single-handedly, God help me. But one day you'll remember my words. The words of a hustler versus dynasty are equivalent to the words of a Hutu versus a Tutsi. You are creating a president where the people who don't have will come to Karen and take away even the tiles you have, and you will seek authority from the government to assist you. It won't be long that all people will be mobilized to come for those wheelbarrows. I don't know where you'll get them to give them. If the wheelbarrows are finished, they will take the window screens of the cars. If the window screens are finished, this is like a story that when a crocodile is eating everybody. Some people think the crocodile has gone. But when it turns around, and you are the only one left who was cheering, you will not escape it. So when a crocodile is eating someone in Africa, rescue try to chase it away. Try to chase it away. That is what I'm telling you. That is, you can't create a hustler and a dynasty politics. This has to stop. You have to put it to a stop. Otherwise, the nation will burn. I submit. Professor. Professor?
Yes?
It is your turn.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Matsanga, for giving that elaborate background on what the demonstration strategy means. And if I may tell you, Dr. Matsanga, I have watched what has happened in this country right away from my youth, and now I'm becoming a senior citizen soon. Dr. Matsanga, this animosity started in 1992 and 1990s when we were struggling to have multi-party democracy in this country. When the right President Daniel Arap Moi sensed that he was going to be defeated, Dr. Matsanga, he decided to come up with the land crisis, and you have to evict your opponent so that you can be able to win because they will not vote. That thing crippled to our country, Dr. Matsanga. That in for every 5 years after the general election, Dr. Matsanga, Kenyans don't know what will happen. It continued that way until when we had the NAC revolution, Dr. Matsanga. And on that one again, I thank the president, the former president, the late Daniel Arap Moi. When NAC won the elections, he handed power, he handed Kenya with a constitution, and he retired to his home in Kabarak, Dr. Matsanga. 2007 came, Dr. Matsanga. We had post-election violence. And we had borrowed this man as well, Dr. Matsanga, that you cannot congratulate your opponent. Basically, what we want to say that this Kreger said you cannot be able to say who won the election. That was an intelligence way of saying, but the elections were rigged, Dr. Matsanga, the truth of the matter. That's how the ICC came in place. People were banned, people were killed in churches, children were banned in Kiambaa Church. But we thank God the international community convened, and we had eminent persons in their own right, and then we were able to put Kenya on track. We identified the 4 agendas, which was a little bit the beginning of the demonstration strategy, Dr. Matsanga. So every election here, Dr. Matsanga, there's a problem in this country. 2017 was serious. And I want to thank God that the Prime Minister and the President were able to come together. And they agreed they have to come with a redemption strategy to save this country. What did they identify? One of the problems facing this country, they identified corruption, Dr. Matsanga. Where we have discussed, we have come from the big four, and we have said corruption is key, where someone takes money for his own personal use. We put money for putting our factory, we put money for putting a dam, and someone takes the money. Unemployment is increasing in this country, Dr. Matsanga. The rate at which we are having our young people leaving schools and leaving colleges, they are not observed employment, Dr. Matsanga. What are some of the reasons? It is because of Dr. Matsanga, corruption. They say, Dr. Matsanga, we have been having divisive elections. What we need to do, let us fix IBC so that we have a referee, a arbiter who is acceptable to both parties, Dr. Matsanga. That is a very serious redemption strategy there. The redemption strategy is a strategy aimed at saving a country. And Dr. Matsanga, if the BBI report is not coming out so that we be able to interrogate it, so that we can be able to put how do we behave on our national ethos, how do we share our prosperity, Dr. Matsanga? How do we see ourselves as Kenyans, not as from people from ethnic groups? That one is going to be a recipe, Dr. Matsanga. This redemption strategy, which the handshake, the one of its own kind in the world, Dr. Matsanga, that we can come from protracted elections and agree, okay, the country is bigger than all of us. But what are you trying to say? The deputy president is running away from the redemption strategy. Running away from redemption strategy, what does it mean? You want corruption. Running away from redemption strategy, what does it? You need divisive elections, Dr. Matsanga. Running away from redemption strategy, you don't want national ethos. Running away from redemption strategy, you don't want people being responsible and respect people's rights. That's why you can go to a church and whatever, you kill and ensure that innocent young people die at the expense of you becoming a president of a country. What does it help you? Look at that family which had their only son. And they see the African courage, how people follow sons, Dr. Matsanga. Then you go and cause chaos that their only son dies. And then you are hovering around the country that you want to become a president. The blood of those innocent young people is crying from the ground. And God is asking for their blood, and you are going to be responsible. So Dr. Matsanga's strategy means we take stock and see where we have gone wrong. Must we kill all Kenyans so that we become the president of this country? No. We want to feel that we are all Kenyans so that we can be able to engage, have a conversation, have a discussion, having a debate on what we want to do in this country. What does the redemption strategy means? That everybody, every leader in this country matters. That's why, Dr. Matsanga, you could see, of course, the Prime Minister does not have any official position in the current government, but he's a leader for the opposition. That's why you can see even cabinet secretaries, ministers going to his office, governors going to his office, so that they will be able to discuss on where we need to take this country. So on redemption strategy, Dr. Matsanga, it will save a nation. It will save nations. And this is what at African countries, that we can have challenges, difficult challenges. But if we so choose that we need to build a prosperous nation, whereby everybody feels to be a Kenyan, anachifunia kuwa Mkenya, sio kujihurumia kuwa Mkenya, then the redemption strategy is the way forward. Dr. Matsanga, I was so much impressed yesterday by the Director General for Nairobi Metropolitan Service, Dr. Matsanga. That's what the redemption strategy means, that we can talk and we can be able to agree. See the kind of vehicles which they have managed to refurbish, where people will say that they want to condemn it because of corruption.
Production. Can we have the pictures of those vehicles? As the professor is talking, have the pictures coming, yes.
Dr. Matsanga.
Professor, you can go.
Yes. Then Dr. Matsanga, you can see that he spent 22 million to make those vehicles to be repaired, ready to serve Nairobians. So Dr. Matsanga, in the redemption strategy, we agree, how do we serve our people? How do we remove those things which divide us? And then say that we have got a nation to develop, to prepare, and to pass on to our children. So the redemption strategy, Dr. Matsanga, is there for posterity. And on this, that's why I will ever remain an ardent supporter of the President and the Prime Minister. Because as a conflict person, Dr. Matsanga, we need to be able to go to underlying core issues in this country, and we must address them through the redemption strategy. If you miss, Dr. Matsanga, the redemption strategy, you will not have a country to talk or to discuss. So those who are opposed to PPI, for those who don't see what the redemption strategy means, come back to your senses. And we have an engagement and a conversation and a discussion, and we talk to one another and take this country forward, Dr. Matsanga. I submit.
Thank you very much. You can see the background as we talk. Those are some of the vehicles of Nairobi Town Council. or county council. County, some of them had no tires, some of them are repairable. Those that we cannot repair, you use spare parts and put in the ones that can run.
That's true.
That's what they call management.
And that's redemption.
That's redemption.
Totally.
You are redempting a bad situation. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank the president for having come back. You see, for having come back and started working, for having put these fire engines at work. This is what we want, not porojo of wearing t-shirts. Can you bring those t-shirts or you wait, get those t-shirts in the afternoon on the shore? That 001 Sijui hustler. A man has gone to school and you are wearing the t-shirt hustler. And a British person will look at you and say, what is going on here? You know, when you enter the airport in London with even somebody will run away from you in a hotel. So they say they think you are coming to, to seduce them. And so please, there are certain things. Kenya is very easy and simple. It is very simple to maintain. But the most important thing is to get out politics out of this. The president yesterday came, he went across, he did a redemption strategy. The cars were gone, the cars are working. Nairobi is back. If there is a fire, we shall not lack water. This not to be like a Kampala. My place where the engine came without water, but not on the engine coming without water, but the engine broke on the way.
Without water.
Without water. Had it broken on the way with water, the other one would have gone to put in a pipe and take water. But even that was not happening. There are some countries in Africa which are in real bad shape. Karanja.
Yes.
Only 1 minute comments as we wait to refresh ourselves to come to the next topic in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
As I make my concluding remarks on redemption strategy.
Yeah. I think what we should do is the people and the patriots, Kenyans of this nation, let us preach peace, let us preach unity and inclusivity. And we have an example. The bar has been said by the president when they shook hands with the former president Raila Odinga. They shook hands for the purpose of inclusivity, for the purpose of unity of our nation, so that everybody in this nation will feel as a Kenyan, will be proud to be a Kenyan. And that is the direction that we as the citizens of this nation, we must take and we must embrace them. When we have a problem with our neighbors, let us go and dialogue, let's have a talk, let's have a conversation that will ensure that there's no space for animosity, there's no space for carrying grudges and excitement. Therefore, that is what we should do. We should start having a conversation with our neighbors. We should also reach out to our enemies. Then if they think this is not the right way to go, we must reach out to them so that if they go out and they destroy something, they know that we have told them in advance that this is not the right direction to take. And we should start killing this kind of ethnicity. And we start seeing Kenyans as Kenyans, not seeing Kenyans as Kuyus, not seeing Kenyans those or Kalenjins or any other person. We are all Kenyans. And we are all entitled to have equal share as citizens of this nation to enjoy and have service delivered to us. And but one thing that we must say no to is the kind of politics that are taking us back to a stateless that was not quite fair. And we must now start having a conversation so that we redeem ourselves from this kind of irregularities that are unfair elections, so that going forward to 2022, we have an election that is credible, that is reliable, and everybody feel as justice was delivered, so that even those who lose that election, we have courage to congratulate those who have won the election. And that will only happen if we support the kind of a strategy that President Uhuru Kenyatta is working for, to ensure that we have a credible election hearing body, we have a credible commissioner, and we will be able to oversee a good election, and then we have a licensed Kenyan able to make a wiser decision on the ballot. That is the only way to have a kind of a nation. That we must also say no to these kind of people who want and the people who drive in violence, people who drive this kind of issue. These are the people we must name and say no to, because these are the people who want to take us back to their old days of 2007. They're still the same people who are there in 2007, and when they joined the other team of the remake team. And that is say that when they lost, when the Raila lost in 2007, there was a violence erupted in our nation. But in 2013, the same Raila Odinga lost, but there was no violence. In 2017, he lost because there was no violence. This is to show that he is more of a statesman. That this is to me the kind of the substance that was in the sense of violence in 2007 was not present in 2013, and there was absent also in 2013. Therefore, going to the future, we must avoid those kind of people who think that they are entitled and their birthright to rule this nation, and we must say no to, and that they must be brought together. We must reach the hands to them if they think it's not the right thing. We must reach the hands to them, the government, so that when they go that direction, they go that direction, knowing that they are doing wrong to our country and that they are doing bad to our nation. Presidency is not an inheritance, it's not a birthright to an individual, it is an entitlement of all Kenyans who qualify that to meet the constitutional threshold to fight for president. That mentality of some people thinking that they must win so that we don't have violence, so that they start threatening us violence, that if you don't win this election, people should be prepared to vacate president in some cases of this nation.
Thank you.
People must say no to, yeah.
You have made your points very clear. Thank you very much. Viewers. This is our parting shot. The people of Kenya have one request to make, and that request is a redemption strategy. A redemption strategy that heals the wounds, that reconciles, that reparates, that restitutes, that tells the truth, that accountability without corruption. The ingredients of a redemption strategy, if they are done in an opposite manner, can create very dangerous conflict at the end. Are we likely to forget what we saw in 2007, early June, when drums of war were being sung by the same tanks, the same alternatives, the same statements? Do we forget history so much, so quickly? How will history judge us harshly if we repeat what is only 14 years ago, one of the worst nightmares that the people of Kenya had, one of the worst vocabulary that they have never witnessed
in such a magnitude. It is therefore very important that at this angle, at this era, at this juncture, what is needed in Kenya today is a redemption strategy. President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga initiated what we call a redemption strategy. Any conflict resolution expert will agree that a redemption strategy looks for areas that have decayed, areas that have broken down, souls that are desperate, souls that are violent, souls that have gone for given desperate state of despondence coming in, creation of class struggle can create the worst type of conflict that you have ever seen in our history. We therefore call upon the people of Kenya themselves to look at these 5 keywords. 1, accountability. When the government talks of wiping out corruption, support them. That's accountability. 2, truth telling. When the churches receive rotten money and they send rotten money to God through prayers, you create a gap. 3, reconciliation. When a country does not reconcile the past, the current, and perhaps the production of the past and the current, there will be a future. The country cannot have a good future. 4, restitution. The amount of damage caused by several factors in Kenya, therefore, create an urgent need for restitution of society, restitution of morals, restitution of our national ethics, ethos. That's why BBI, with its 9 points, will work as a restituting body to find out where you went wrong and recognition. To bring it to a shape, renewal of hope is to restitute. Equally, the 5th one is reparations. There are still people and there are still those who harbor the past injuries. There are still those who still look for their beloved ones. There are still those who want their houses back. There are still those who see smoke in the houses where they used to live for 50 years. Have we reparated them? Have we brought back sanity? And finally, in a redemption strategy, if we do all this and find out what makes us quarrel every day, what makes Kenyans quarrel every day, what makes Kenyans have bent necks, walking with their necks like this, as if they want to go and kill somebody, is elections. Have you cleaned your elections? Does the Kenyan election need a redemption? The answer is yes. Do you need the mechanism to be redempted? The answer is yes. Kenya needs new electoral mechanisms. The one that will not bring and breed about violence, but that will usher us to a new era of tranquility, where the loser greets the winner and the winner greets the loser. The time will come when you need to have two papers, one for winning, one for losing. If candidates in Kenya can hold those two papers when they go to elections, this country will rise and shine again. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, my people. God bless you. God bless you.
Well.